ever felt stuck on how to start selling digital products, today's episode is going to change that. Welcome back to the Blogger Genius. I'm your host, Jillian Leslie, and today my guest is Sherry Smotherman Short, the founder of Printables and More Club. Sherry helps bloggers and entrepreneurs create and sell printables, digital downloads that solve problems, entertain, and make life easier. In this episode, we talk about why printables are such a powerful, low-effort digital product, the types of printables that consistently sell well, and how niching down can increase your profits, how to get started quickly, even if you're not a designer. And before we dive in, I want to remind you that with MiloTree, you can set up your first digital product, freebie, and social media pop-up completely for free. No credit card required. This means you can take the exact strategies Sherry and I talk about today and start testing your own printable or digital product in minutes. Just head to milotree.com to sign up and start growing your business effortlessly today. Sherry, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Why do you think every blogger and content creator should be selling printables?
It's because it's kind of a no-brainer. It is a way for bloggers to really build up their income and not always be reliant on, the algorithms of all the different algorithms out there. And it's just a way for them to add value to their blog and make money at the same time.
And are they a lot of work?
No, I don't think so. Especially if you start with a template, and if you can find a template that works for your niche and start with that, and then it makes it very easy. You're just doing a few modifications. You can do a really easy tripwire to give away your freebie, and then do a tripwire into an inexpensive paid product, and that's kind of how you start.
Okay, so Sherry, explain what you do.
Okay, I'll be happy to. I have been a blogger for a long time now. And a couple of years ago, I started hearing about printables and, had joined this membership where I got printables, have an Etsy shop, sell some on my blog. So I'd started dipping my toes into it. And the person that owned the membership decided to sell. And so I said, you know what? I'd love to do this. So what I do now.
Wait. So you were in a membership. Explain. Back up. So you were in a membership where you were getting printables?
Yes. I was getting Canva templates every month. We would get 15 Canva templates every month of all different varieties for printables. And then I could take those Canva templates, modify them a little bit if I wanted to. And then I could turn around and sell those either on Etsy or on my blog. I could use them as a freebie opt-in for my blog, just any way I wanted to. So that's.
And 15. So now you do this. So you have a membership and a Shopify store where you sell printable templates that are Canva templates where I purchase them, I can personalize them any way I want, and I can sell them.
Absolutely.
Okay. What are the most popular printables that you sell? Like, what do people want and what are they selling in their, like with MiloTree or Etsy or wherever or on their blogs? Like, what works?
Well, I think I should back up a little bit and tell you what a printable actually is, because there are some people that don't know. When I think of a printable, it's some sort of document that is either going to help me save time, help me save money, help entertain me, or help solve a problem. So, for example, maybe your kids are out of school for Good Friday, or they're out, they may be on spring break and they're little kids, they're used to being in school. You can get printables from anyone who sells a printable that could be something like an Easter word search or an Easter puzzle or e-coloring page. So that would be examples of some printables. So that's to entertain them. As an adult, I might want a printable planner so that I can, keep up with, whether it's you're a busy mom and you're trying to keep up with what kid's supposed to be where when, or whether you're a small business owner and you are trying to keep up with what do I need to do now? Or maybe you're a consultant. Anybody like that may want to use a planner because there's so many different types of planners. So you've got that. So it's anything that could be printed out and from your printer to use to do one of those things. Help you save money. Maybe it's a budget planner. Help you make money. Maybe it's the planner for your business. Entertain your kids, anything like that. So first of all, that is what a printable is.
Okay, so wait, I'm going to interrupt for 1 second.
Sure.
So a printable solves a problem. It could be
Exactly.
entertain your kids, decorate your house, organize your money. And again, I talk about this so much, my 6 purchasing buckets, which is when you are selling stuff to your audience, your potential customers, make sure your product can save somebody money, make somebody money, save somebody time, move somebody toward happiness, move them away from pain, or raise their social status. And it can fit in multiple buckets, but you actually then sell the printable solution that could fit in any one of those buckets.
Exactly.
So if you're in a niche and you go, hey, I could come up with a printable checklist or whatever, I can go to your shop, I can buy your Canva template, I can create it, and boom, I can sell it.
Exactly. Exactly. So just to give you an example, and I actually just recorded some training on this about repurposing things. So let's say you need a specific kind of checklist and you just can't seem to find what you want. You can go to my site and you might buy a checklist for my mind's going to blank on checklist right now, but you could find a checklist that may not be exactly what you want, but the kind of bones of what a checklist is are there. And so then you can take that and you can, change out the titles and change out the design. Let's say it's a checklist for little, like if you're a sports mom, a little kid sports mom, where somebody's got to take the snack and somebody's got to take this, that, and the other, and you got to remember all the equipment that your kid needs. Maybe you've got that. Maybe that's the kind of checklist that I may have on my site, but you want it to make sure that you do everything you need to do before you hit publish on a blog post. You could take that kind of little kid one, take off the little kid graphics, maybe change the font to something a little bit more professional, throw, some kind of professional looking image on there, and boom, you've gone from this little kid sort of centric printable over to this business printable that's going to help you with your business.
Got it. And then I can sell it. Because, okay,
And you can sell it. Yes.
with MiloTree, where I find people have success is they know what their niche is, they know what their problem is. Maybe then they go to ChatGPT and they say, hey, and this is what I would recommend, go to ChatGPT and say, give me 10 ideas for digital products, which is really what we're talking about, digital downloads, I'll call it, that I can sell. Then it gets like, well, I've got ChatGPT and maybe it'll give me the items in my checklist. However, now I've got to go to Canva and create it. So you are that bridge. Like I could go to Canva, type in checklist, and they'll have some templates.
Right.
But if I want more, or if I want something easier or more designed, I can go to your site, look at what checklist you have, purchase that, personalize it for my audience, my potential customers, boom, be done. Put it up, use MiloTree. Remember, you can sell your first product for free forever. So put it on MiloTree. We give you a AI-generated sales page. And boom, I'm going to say you could be selling in how long would it take, say, to update your template?
If you're just doing some simple things, for example, a lot of our members will change the fonts, change the color to their brand fonts, their brand colors, and put their logo on it. And so a lot of people, that's what they do. If that's what you're doing, you could probably have that updated in 5 minutes.
Okay, and you can sell on MiloTree in less than, I'm going to say 5 minutes. You got a sales page, just like upload the checklist to MiloTree. We deliver it to your customer. So this is such a good solution. My biggest thing that I'm always shouting from the rooftops is get started. Get started.
Right.
Test. Try something small. Don't start with, I'm going to create a course with 15 video modules. No. Test different ideas to see what gets traction. Say, that $7 checklist is not going to buy you a yacht, but it is a
Right.
way to get your foot in the door to say,
Mhm,
trust me, buy from me. If you buy from me, you're going to see I deliver. You're going to see I
mhm.
know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to make your life better. So let's start there.
Exactly, exactly. And the beautiful thing is, once you have that printable updated and you've got it published wherever you're going to sell it, MiloTree or whatever other option that you use, you really don't have to touch it again. And so it can sell and sell and sell and sell. So that $7 becomes a lot more. And I'll just to give you an example, my blog is about Cub Scouting, which is the little kid version of the Boy Scouts. Actually, it's called Scouting America now. And I wanted a knot tying guide that had like diagrams that showed you when you do this, and so I created that, and I think I sell it for $4.99, and I don't even know how many of those I've sold. I mean, I've probably sold over $1,000 worth and of a $5 product, and it takes a lot to get to $1,000 from $5. So it's just that's just an example of you get something out there, and it's something that, and the big thing I think with printables is it needs to be something that solves a problem. I'm supposed to teach these Cub Scouts how to tie knots, but I'm not very good at explaining. They're not very good at understanding because they're little kids. Okay, here's this thing, and it shows them step by step what to do. So that solved the problem of helping somebody to teach these kids how to tie knots.
Now, why are planners so popular? And do you recommend if somebody is looking to sell a digital product, why would you pick a planner? Because I just see planners all over the place.
There's planners all over the place. And for some people, well, let me back up. You'll see a lot of very generic planners out there that are just, okay, well, here's my to-do list, a page for to-dos, calendar pages, maybe a goals page and all that. But where I think people have the most success with planners is when they get to be very specific. So, for example, I had a Cub Scout planner that had, I mean, it was very specific. And then the Cub Scouting program changed, so I have to redo it. But when you can get very specific, like I've seen ADHD planners, for students that have ADHD. I've seen, like meal planners is I mean, there's all kinds of different things. So, I mean, I think about it. We have so many things on our minds these days, and especially if you're a busy mom or even a busy dad, and sometimes it's hard to keep all the balls juggling at once. So when you've got some sort of planner that helps you keep track of what you need to do, when you need to do it, where the kids need to be at what time. So I think that just having I think that's why planners have gotten to be so big these days. It's not just a calendar. Back in the day, you just had a calendar that you could write things on, and that was it. And I think, with the advent of planners, it just helps us stay organized.
And how much do you think people typically sell planners for? What do you see?
I've seen a little bit of everything. I've seen planners for $3 or $4, and I sold my Cub Scouting planner for $30. And again, the more specific and niche down it is, the more money that you can charge for it. So there is a wide gambit.
Now, if I were to design a planner, like how many of these pages, like how intense do I have to be? How long would it take me to personalize it?
If you bought one of my planners on one of my planner templates, again,
And wait,
it's
how
not
much
going
do
to.
you sell them for?
Oh, I cannot tell you right off the top of my head. They're usually, I'm trying to think, most of them are around $27 if
Okay.
they're on the shop where it's a one-off purchase. So they're around $27, and some of them have more pages than others.
Wait,
Um,
but just so you know, I buy
uh,
it from you for
yes,
$27 and
yes,
then I can sell it over and over and over
mhm,
again. So even if I
yes,
sell it for $27, all I need is one sale to
yeah,
break even. Okay. So I
exactly,
buy your planner for $27. And
yes.
then what do I need to do to update it?
Well, we our templates are all in Canva because I think Canva is just a much easier tool for the non-designers to use because I'm definitely, as a matter of fact, I have someone who creates my designs for me because I'm not the designer. And so you would hop over into Canva, you get a template link to that. You would hop over into Canva and then decide what kinds of personalizations you want to do. Like I mentioned earlier, some people just want to change the fonts and the colors to their branding and maybe change out a few graphics that might be on there and just use it from there, which again is going to not take very long at all. If you're going to do like a specialized planner, so I, I keep my Cub Scouting one keeps coming into mind. But if you're doing something specialized, obviously it's going to take you a lot longer to do that. But for the most part, you should be able to do within an hour or less. You should be able to create the kind of planner you want. Now you have to think about, what do I want in this planner? Maybe it's a planner for social media managers. Well, obviously, you're going to need a page for here are my social media accounts, and here's the links, and just whatever you're going to put for, just so you'll have that in one place. Then you might have the kind of a brainstorming page where you're going to think about, what kinds of posts do I want to do? Is it going to be a Facebook post or an Instagram reel or a TikTok video? Just there'll be some things that you need to think through in terms of what all you want in there. But once you've kind of figured that out, then pop in there and we'll have a lot of pages that will be easy to switch over to that.
Here's the thing. Are most people printing out their planners, or are they using them like on an iPad?
Right now, I think people are still printing out the planners. Um, we call that digital planning. And if people aren't familiar with that, basically, I use an iPad, but I know you can get versions for other tablets as well. But there is an app called GoodNotes that I use for all my digital planning. So what I do is I get a PDF, and normally you would print that out, but with GoodNotes, instead of that, you just import that PDF into your GoodNotes app, and you literally have an Apple Pencil. As a matter of fact, this morning I was catching up on I keep track of the books that I've read on a little book tracker that I've got in GoodNotes. So I was writing away on my iPad with my Apple Pencil this morning. So a lot of people do that, and that makes it, even with the planner, that's pretty easy to do. Now there are some digital planners that include like hyperlinks so that you can click on the Made tab and it automatically takes you to the Made tab. We don't do a lot of that in my business right now, just because the people that are buying stuff from us are not selling to people who are using that extensive of a digital planner.
Interesting. So what are some other top digital downloads, printables that people sell? Because what I want to do is help my audience think about this for themselves, to say,
Mhm.
okay, so like planner, good idea. Could that work in my niche? As you said, I could create one in an hour. You could
Mhm.
sell it on MiloTree in, all right, I'm going to go 10 minutes. Boom,
Mhm.
there's your first digital product. What are other things that you see people continuing to buy where they could personalize it for their niche that solves a problem?
It runs the gamut. There's wall art. Let's say you're decorating a nursery and you want to do rabbits. You have a rabbit themed nursery. And, you can buy wall art that's, rabbits with different, captions and such on it. So, you'll have different things like that. One of the ones, and I heard this from one of my members, this is kind of secondhand, but there was this member that's in my club knows a young woman who is making a lot of money on Etsy. She is selling like posters and wall art of Bible verses, but her little niche, because a lot of times when you see Bible verses, it's might be, very pastel and just very, very ethereal is the word that comes to mind. But she's doing bright, bold colors with
Mm.
geometric designs, and I think she appeals to a younger audience just like she is. So, so there's wall art. And again, even within that wall art, there's a lot of different, things that you can do. So wall art, their activity sheets are always very popular with the kids, and especially seasonal stuff, and even with like adult games. So, there might be for Christmas, you might have a like a little game where maybe you're talking about your Grinch name, and there'll be some little printable where you come up with your Grinch name. So I think those party things like that are really popular. We have several different ones. I know I bought one for one of my kids that was a secret agent party kit. And it had
Mm.
everything. It was super fun. But we have one that is unicorns. So party kits are very popular because again, you want to do a fun theme for your kids' party, and sometimes, you instead of you having to go out and create all this stuff, you can buy this pack that's got everything that you need in there.
I think that's great. Okay. So this is like my recommendation. You know what your niche is. Go to ChatGPT and say, give me
Yes.
10 digital download ideas, printable ideas that I can then sell. And then instead of going, well, like I'm not a designer and I guess Canva has stuff, but that's a
Mhm.
lot. I could just come
Right.
to your site, find something, and then just change it out and boom, be up and selling.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm.
And I would, if you're a blogger, and I think we started out with me saying that I think I think every blogger should sell printables on their site. I really do. But if you're a blogger, you could even take what I would do is take that top blog post, copy the text, throw that into Chat GPT and say, this is my blog post. What kinds of printables could I sell? And then you are going to get one that is very, very specific to that particular blog post. You're getting those kinds of ideas. So I would make it even more, narrow it down more than just here's my niche, but here's what I have said in this
I
blog
love that.
post.
And you know what I say as a blogging coach? Always think about your top 10 posts because chances are you're getting
Absolutely.
the most traffic from those.
Hmm.
That what you're saying is you should have a printable for every, if 10 is too many, start with 3
Right.
but make sure for those top 3 posts, you have a printable that you can sell. And even if
Right.
it's just to grow your email list, use that. I mean, with MiloTree,
Exactly.
you can offer freebies. Okay, great. Go make a freebie and then upload it and we'll deliver it. And you've just got a new email subscriber because your printable directly ties to whatever that blog post is. That's a brilliant idea.
And that's the thing is, if you can't think of what kind of printable should I do for this? Think about what the next step is. So if I'm a person reading your blog post, what am I going to do after I finish reading that blog post? If once I've done what you said in that blog post, then what's next? And
Mm.
I'll give you a good example. This is a great way, I think, to also come up with blog post topics. I have a blog post on Cub Scout Ideas that is where the little patches go on the little kids' uniforms. And so I was thinking, I wonder, thinking through that, what comes next? Well, typically you find that because it's an hour before you have to leave for the meeting, and your kids just come running into the living room saying, Mom, you didn't sew my patches on. I got to have them on. I can't go to the meeting unless I have the patches on the uniform. And so the next thing is, how do you sew that patch on? And so my blog post that I, linked together was, how do you sew a patch on a uniform? So I think not only is it's great content for your blog, but it makes great printables when you can think through what comes next.
I love that. I think about this for all online entrepreneurs. Think about the problem you solve, and then how can you break it down into
Hmm.
sections? So I talked to this food blogger who helps people eat healthy, lose weight. And she has her freebie is, okay, we're going to start by doing, I think like a 2-day exercise and cleaning out your fridge and getting ready for what comes next. And then
Exactly.
we're going to make a bunch of smoothies and we're going to freeze a bunch of food. And we're going to start with like 10 days. And then we're going to extend that into all the different phases of, say, losing weight. And ultimately, it ends up in a membership where now you want to be around people who are on this journey who've maybe gotten to a certain point. But how do you maintain that? Oh, showing up in community with other people. But I love your idea, which is you're kind of doing it in a more micro way of here's the blog post. What's the next step from this blog post? We all should be thinking about this for our businesses because it enables them to become intentional.
Exactly.
Now, for you in your own business, so you purchased this business, which is a
I did.
membership.
I did.
And I am a big proponent of people thinking, how can they create memberships? Because with memberships comes recurring revenue. So, what would you say are the benefits and the challenges of running a membership?
The benefits is it's just fun. It's fun to interact with the members. It's fun when the members tell you, "Oh, that was a great training." It's just I enjoy it. I enjoy the interaction. I enjoy trying to come up with new things that I can provide to my members. In terms of kind of what are the drawbacks, I think you were asking about. Every 15th of the month, I've got to deliver 15 templates to folks. So I've got to make sure, and luckily I have a pretty good, I have, I think 3 or 4 folks who work for me, and they kind of run that part. But, again, it is okay. It's the 14th, and I haven't seen the final document that has all the Canva links on it. So, you do have to make sure that you're consistent and sometimes, I mean, I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say sometimes I have an issue with consistencies, so, because there's just days when you're like, I know I need to do this, but,
And how do
so
you deliver those links to the Canva templates?
we call it a drop. And I don't think I told you the name of my business. It's
No,
called
please.
Printables and it's called Printables and More Club. And so what we do is we call it the drop. So it's the 15th of every month. You are going to get a PDF emailed to you that has links to 15 Canva templates. What we do is we show you like a the front page, like the cover page of the template. So we show you that, and then we have links to the Canva templates from there. And I was just thinking, I was just looking at one of those drop documents. We have a cosplay costume planner. I mean, very, very niche.
Niche.
So, yes. So, but in addition to just offering the templates in my membership, now, like you said, I do have a shop where you can buy one-off templates, but in the membership, we have tons and tons and tons of training like that. I'm a big believer that the more you know about things, the more you can be successful. And we try to pick topics that are, just important for people to know, like, how can you have a Pinterest strategy for your printables? And how do you set up a tripwire? And how do just all kinds of things like that. How easily, how do you swap up? You've got this printable over here that's this, like maybe it's a retro bridal shower kit. You can turn that into a tween girl birthday party kit. So, how do you do that? So those are the kinds of things that we teach people to do in the club.
And do you show up live? Do you teach with everybody? Like, is it once a month or
We
how does that work?
I do have a coach in the club who is very successful. She has a lifestyle blog and she is very successful with her printables. So she comes in and teaches 2 sessions a month for me. And we try again. If you want to learn about a specific thing, you just let us know, and Corinne and I'll decide whether she's going to do it or whether I'm going to do it. So we tend to have the goal is to have one every Thursday, to have some sort of training session every Thursday. We do it live in the group, so people can come and watch there, or we do record it. So if you miss the actual live, we have a whole training vault, so you can go to the training vault and watch the training there as well.
What you're doing is fantastic and you make it easy. So yes,
Yes,
use ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you like best. Sherry will also then help you get up that hill so that now there's no
right.
reason why you can't have your planner or your checklist or your party decorations or whatever it is that you need, like go. Like
Mhm.
I was saying before I pressed record, that all I want for people to do is go and make and try and test and
Exactly.
pivot and start cheap and start faster than you want. That,
Mhm.
so the fact that you enable that is so, I don't know, it so speaks to how I think about digital products and watching people have success. It's not rocket science. It's being
Exactly.
willing to do it and do it
Mhm.
often and
Mhm.
learn and maneuver and try new things.
Exactly. And, like you said, you just have to, come up with an idea and find, I mean, you can buy templates on my shop for $7. Invest the $7. I think you said MiloTree has a free trial. So, do the free trial and just see what happens. And maybe if you're not comfortable selling it, you make it be an opt-in.
On MiloTree, you can set up a tripwire, which is where you offer your freebie and then you
Mhm,
sell on the thank you page. Hey, thank you for signing up. This will be
mhm.
delivered to you. And now, hey, how about you buy this? And you can set that all up for free as well. So you can like
Yeah.
set up your freebie, set up your first product, and put them together as a tripwire, like now, like
Mhm.
today. Go do that for free.
Exactly, and one of my favorite kinds of tripwires is so let's say you've got a blog post about Easter. You could say, "Okay, I've got this Easter scavenger hunt," and you give that away for free, and then the tripwire is, "Oh, by the way, I have this whole packet of Easter activities for kids, coloring pages and all kinds of things," and, you've kind of pre-sold them that you already know that they want printable activities for Easter for their kids when they've signed up for the freebie. And they're much more likely to buy because they're like, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I've only got this one. This saves me from having to go search down a bunch of other ones, and other Easter printables. I can just buy this packet right here and have all that I need.
I love that. Sherry, if people want to reach out to you, if they've got questions, if they want to
hmm
see what your club, your shop, where should they go?
Well, there's a few places that you can go. I have printablesandmoreclub.com. That's where the website is. My email is on there, so if anybody can feel free to email me there. We do have, we're on Facebook at Printables and More Club, on Instagram, Printables and More Club, and I'm trying to really up my Instagram game these days. So there should be there's quite a bit of content already, but there will be more of that. So you can reach out to me, message me on any of those platforms, or just email me from grabbing my email address on the website.
Well, I have to say, I feel like our products are like perfectly aligned. Like it just
They
makes me
are.
so happy. So go
Yes.
spend that $7 with Sherry and get started for free and go try stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Sherry, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This has been fun.